Hey guys, so your assignment this week is going to be going outside for a little bit and just kind of enjoying the nice weather. I'll give you some information here in a little bit on what you're doing. You just need to find a spot where you can just kind of chill, hang out for a little bit, listen to all the stuff around you. We just talked about ecology. So we've talked about the environment and all the interactions with everything. And being spring right now, there's a ton of interactions going on. So go outside, find a spot. The parks are starting to open back up this week. So get out there, find a spot close to home. Doesn't have to be very far away, and spend some time out there. After this video, I'll give you some information on what I want you to do there. Take a friend, whatever you need to do, but go outside and enjoy it a little bit. One of the things I've noticed since I've been out here that's really indicative of spring here in the Northwest is all these ferns. So if we look at these fern fronds that are unfurling, we get all those during spring. That'll eventually turn into another frond on there. So ferns are a little bit weird. It's not like they don't have fruit on there that they drop seeds off of. They actually have spores. So if we flip up the underside of that leaf and we see all those underneath there, the fern is actually going to release spores of all those little brown dots that you see, and that's how new ferns are going to grow. They don't have fruit like an apple. There's no seeds. They actually just have spores. So if you take time to notice what's going on here, we've got a little caterpillar on there. So he's gonna eat some of that leaf, eventually put himself in a cocoon and go through metamorphosis and either turn into a moth or a butterfly. So one of the plants that you're probably definitely gonna run into is this Himalayan blackberry. So you can definitely tell by the thorny sides of it. So these things are an invasive species. They should not naturally be here in Washington, but they got introduced in the late 1800s. There's an amateur botanist that wanted to make a thornless variety. Obviously, he wasn't very successful, but people started planting these, and in the 1920s and 30s, they finally started to figure out that this is starting to displace other plants. And they tried to eradicate it, but it grows absolutely everywhere. So this is one of the invasive species that you see absolutely everywhere in here. It's easily spread by animals, especially birds. They'll eat the blackberries and they'll go poop them out everywhere else. All right, so we finished up talking about one invasive species, and here is another one. So if you look behind me, there's all these pretty yellow flowers, which are the flowers of Scotch broom. So Scotch broom is really good at erosion control. So rain and things like that, it'll keep the soil down, but it is invasive. It's not a natural plant here, and it absolutely grows everywhere. If you're wanting to do something that can help the environment besides recycling and picking up litter and stuff like that, you can take a pair of clippers with you, go out, walk around, and cut down all this crappy Scotch broom, because it's everywhere. And if you have seasonal allergies, you definitely know Scotch broom. So the Scotch broom, absolutely everywhere. All right, so right here we've got an actual beneficial plant this time. So this is clover. You've definitely seen the flowers before. You've seen its leaves, but clover, a lot of people think it's a weed, but it's actually pretty beneficial. If you have it in your yard, you can actually fix nitrogen in the soil, which will help your yard grow, your grass grow, and you don't have to use as much fertilizer. All right, so we got to hang outside for a little bit. So let's talk about some reminders from last week, and then talk about what you're going to do this week. So last week on Monday, I assigned you guys a 2-week check-in. That needs to be done today, Monday, May 4th. Get that done. Most of you have already sent that in. Some really good responses on there. We'll talk about those in a video on Wednesday. Wednesday, this Wednesday, May 6th, your Explore 1 Population Dynamics is due. So I'll make a video about that probably Wednesday or next week, and we'll talk about some information from that. There's definitely some really good information we can get from that graph. So if you have any questions about that graph or you're not understanding it quite, make sure you drop me an email. So what we're going to do with the outdoor activity, I have it in Canvas. It's 4 spots, so let's open that up and look at it real quick. So you're going to go outside, pick a spot. Doesn't matter where it's at. If you want to go to one of the parks, one of the state parks, they're going to be opening on the 5th, so you should be able to get there. And really, pretty much within blocks of most of your houses, you can find a spot to go that has trees. That's kind of what we're looking for. So you're going to go find a spot, set a timer for 10 minutes, and just see if you can actually chill out and remain still for those 10 minutes. Leave the TikToks off, leave the phone off. See if you can just chill out for 10 minutes. After those 10 minutes, you'll make a reflection later on. Some of the things that you can think about, just some sights, sounds, and smells. What are the different sounds that you can hear? Did any of the sounds change from when you sat down to 5-10 minutes in there? Some things that you might have noticed is these are just some things to think about while you're doing it. What you'll do after, you can choose any of these, or you can, if you decide there's something else that you want to do as your assessment piece of this, that's totally fine with me. If you want to draw a map of your spot and talk about any details there, go for it. Just upload a picture, stick it in there, or upload a picture into Canvas. Either one of those work for me. You can write a journal about some of the stuff there. If you took somebody with you, talk about what they heard, what they thought of it versus what you did. You can go back there a couple times. Go there during the night, go there during the day, the morning, see if there's any differences. You can make a video kind of like I did, talking about the spots you're at. You can also use some online resources to identify some plants and animals that you saw. All right, so one of the reasons that I made this activity was found some cool psychology related to being in the forest. So this one study said that the smells of nature lower physiological stress. So what they did on this one is kind of a weird one. In the experiment, they shocked people, and they had people in the lab smelling natural scents, like the scent of the forest that you guys smell when you walk in, and then urban odors, like cars, probably concrete, things like that. And they found that people recovered faster when they were smelling natural scents. Kind of a weird study, but what. The other study, which is a little less weird, other than the name, they call it forest bathing, which don't know who picked that name, but Japanese scientists found that when people spent some time out in the forest, just maybe it was the smells, maybe it was just the being out in nature, they had lower cortisol levels. So that lower cortisol levels, it lowered their pulse rate, lowered the blood pressure. They were more chilled out. They were less stressed. They were less likely to be depressed. Which right now, which craziness of what's going on right now, forest bathing might be a good idea. Might help you out a little bit. So there's a couple studies that relate to what we're doing. Find a spot and then decide how you want to reflect on that. There's a lot of things that you can do. If you don't like any of those options that I put on there, come up with your own. All right. Talk to you guys later.